You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement that explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking at.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Campbell. I am your host for today for the Plan to Prosper podcast show. I want to first take the time to thank Pod TV for its work it is doing to bring our show and so many other shows to a platform over 200 countries, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And we are so proud of the work that they are doing, making sure that not only we are on Pod TV, but we're also on Roku, Amazon, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and about 10 other platforms that I have no idea how they do that. But I want to thank them for that, to make sure the Plan to Prosper show have an opportunity to reach so many people, to help educate them, teach them, give them the knowledge and the tools they need to grow and thrive. Whether you own your own business or not, own your own nonprofit or not work in the work environment, if you're a 9-to-5 employee and once you get off, you have a hobby, you may be able to think about extra money that you want to bring in, that you need as you grow and want to pay for something that you don't want to go in debt for, or save additional money for retirement. We look at the faith community also as a beacon to help people grow and thrive. And this platform provides that opportunity. It is Mark Lee that really truly helped us with airing the show as it relates to being the producer and the engineer, getting us up and running. And because of that, you have the opportunity every Tuesday at 7 p.m. to receive valuable information. So today's show is about one thing: bullying, the toll it takes on Black women. And this is in the workplace as well as on your own company, and you get contracts and you have to go into other companies. And once they start interacting with you, some of the things that we go through, and so often people ignore it, don't want to deal with it. You know, they have all of these isms about doing this. And so we have to call it for what it is and become a part of changing it. I had a conversation with Mark before we got on. We was talking about this. It dates back way to slavery time. This is how far it goes back. And I want to say that we need to, let's stop it. Nobody deserves to be bullied. Black women definitely do not deserve that treatment. No person deserves that treatment. But whenever the dose is given twice, and especially is it given by a black um, viewpoint because they are black, and if someone's white is on the end of the bullying. And to say you don't know, you do know. And so our show is about being honest, be authentic, and be real. So we have a guest, which is Ashley Campbell. She has a nonprofit with is RDU Black Therapists. And she was featured on ABC about this issue and about Dr. Annetta Bonnie Bailey that gave the ultimate sacrifice, which is her life. And she was the vice president of student affairs at Lincoln University, which is one of our HBCUs, by the president that happened to be white. And once this come about, it was as it was, oh, no, this happened. And we cannot allow her life to be stopped after the funeral because she paid the ultimate price for every black woman that is still now owning their own company or working that's going through bullying. And so Ashley and I are going to have this conversation about this. And because next month is Black History Month, we're going to continue a series of these conversations because we could go back just before Dr. Bailey and talk about the president of Harvard, how they lied, how they would not continue because they could not feel it was right for her to be a black woman leading a white university. You know, the fact that it's in the United States of America. It's supposed to be the land of the free. It's supposed to be the land of opportunities. It's supposed to be all of this thing that our Constitution and also so many of us have fought for, but now we still in 2024 fighting for something from slavery. That we have people in America that cannot see others as human beings. It's as if we are if they are intimidated by the power of the thought process of a black woman knowledge. And that you can put so much on them that they end up committing suicide. So we're going to bring Ashley up and have this conversation. Welcome, Ashley. Welcome. Thank you for joining us at the Plan to Prosper podcast. And I'm so excited to hear your thoughts about therapy, about your interview with ABC. But mostly the point is, I was educating the audience about back from slavery to 2024, Black women has been bullying.
Right. Yes. Thank you for having me.
You know, from slavery, when we was bought over as a slave, and we still deal with it now. So I would like to hear your thoughts about that, and then we're going to have a conversation.
Okay. So yeah, it definitely, I'm just going to reiterate everything that you just said about the historical context of slavery and how it has not changed a lot. Or it's sad that it hasn't changed a lot within the workplace where we still are discriminated against and thought as if we're not supposed to be in that position because of white supremacy, essentially, right? So it is very sad, and unfortunately we still have to arm ourselves with the certain tools so that we can keep being resilient and getting through those hard times. And so mental health is definitely a huge thing with that because, again, for our community, mental health is still, we're getting used to it, basically, as far as like the tools and the coping skills and all of that. And so it's important that we ensure and remind ourselves that our mental health is in every area and every facet of our lives. It's, and so especially the workplace, that's where you spend majority of your time. Those who are working full time spend majority of your time at the workplace. That becomes your second family. And so those people have a lot of access to you. And it's important to make sure that your mental health is up to par, because we know just within families where, we can be impacted with our mental health, it's the same thing with your workplace.
So talk about the tragic death that all of us are living through, and we can't even begin to come to grips with it, and how you can speak about it and her death, and some of the issues that happened that is public. And I just wanted you to talk about those things she went through that is public knowledge. And so we can have a conversation about, is that you?
Okay. So I think that Dr. Bonnie definitely represents every Black woman who is in a leadership position. And unfortunately for her situation, there was a white male over her who they have reported was harassing her essentially, or bullying her, right? And so that is the unfortunate part. However, bullying can happen from anyone on, on your team, whether
Right.
it's your equal or someone your superior. And so unfortunately for her, it was her superior, and she did feel like he had the organization to kind of back him up. And so she kind of felt lost, but she did do her due diligence by reaching out to the board and sending emails to HR and whatnot. And unfortunately, the board did tell her that they don't deal with those type of situations. So I definitely feel like the university just failed her, unfortunately, because she did reach out. She did try to seek help. And I assumed that this was her last straw and what she felt like would actually get some recognition.
And when we hear that the boys say this is not their position, your human capacity of being a human being, you overlook the fact that this is not about a board position. This is about compassion
Exactly.
as a person. And to say, so you're hiding back with a title as someone else suffers.
Yes.
Okay, so it's about the fact that you hit your type. You say, "Oh no, this is not us. It's not our position." But it wasn't about that. It's about being a compassionate to a human being that was reaching out to you, and as a board, it was your duty, or as a person, it was your duty to say, even if I have to step off this board, it is my duty to help protect this person. To know that a whole board felt that we cannot overstep that, that says something about leadership, not only the president, but the board.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you are human first, or whatnot. So I think that we forget that. And then the other side of that is a lot of people don't handle confrontation well, right? And so that was their security blanket to even avoid that confrontation and not take it as serious as it was. And unfortunately, because of the American way, we have so much trauma intertwined in the fabric of our history that we have become so desensitized to so many different things and to cries for help until it's too late. And now what can we do with this aside from continuing to shed light on the bigger picture of it needs to stop? However, it's unfortunate that a life had to be lost behind that.
And when I look at also is where the board did not want to deal with it, guess what they at now? They dealing with it.
Exactly.
Okay, so your no then end up being a yes now. But it's a different type of yes. It's a yes that now you have a life that everyone looks at the board members, or people now look at the board members and look at, you had no compassion and no sympathy. But now you're trying to have compassion and sympathy. you yourself, your reputation has been tarnished as a board. People don't see you leaders anymore. And think about the students.
Yes.
Not only that, but how many students was affected by the people that she had helped and have nourished and have been there for, that knew her as a student. Now they haven't even considered the impact of the student.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Because the student is saying now, if someone in leadership with a doctor's degree, they ignore her, what about me? I'm just
Exactly.
a executive.
Exactly. Yeah.
The mental toll that this have taken. And so it's not just at a university, but this can be in corporate as a leader, as well as you think about Harvard University. The students is like, whoa, she didn't do that. And the board is like, well, we got to protect our money.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's going to be okay. But you damage her reputation because she didn't plagiarize anything.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Bonnie, all she wanted to do was love the students and make sure they have a fair chance to get this stuff and advocate for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we see this going across spectrums. For even when we own our own companies or nonprofits, and we are in the room, and we are working for contracts or grants and stuff, and because of the color of our skin, we reduce the amount of money to work with to help the greater good.
Yes.
And so I think about the impact that it has across so many areas, a person's death. And it should not be that the person died and we move on.
Right.
Have you thought about that? I think sometimes in America, something tragic happened, then we move on.
Yeah. We're so desensitized to it. It's happening so often that unfortunately we've gotten used to it.
Mm-hmm. But we cannot let her legacy die because
Right.
she paid the ultimate sacrifice for all the Black women that's being bullied, even today, even right now. They could be at the hospital on their shift being bullied. They could be at the police department, the fire department. They could have left school today. And because income plays such a big part of people staying at places, because
Yes.
people have a conversation. Well, she could have just left. She could have did this. Why is it that we always say what the Black woman can do?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so, speak about why we make it a reason why the Black woman can walk away and why we can't walk away, and how our mental health, how we suppress it, and until we can't, until it comes and to end.
Well, I think historically, just even when you date back to medical school, right? When only white people were able to attend medical school,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would do, I guess, research on Black people. And so there are still books that have statistical information, if you will, that Black people don't feel the same amount of pain, or they have a higher pain tolerance, or different things like that, right? And so, and then even if you talk about like mental health, once mental health became a thing, and only white people were studied during that time, white people were only studied because they felt that Black people were not sophisticated enough to experience any type of anxiety or depression or anything to that nature, right? And so historically, it's been just put on us constantly that we can carry the load and nothing happens to us, right? It's just that easy to just deal with the consequences and move on because we are a resilient people and we are strong. We are the strong Black woman, right? And we can deal with whatever life throws at us. And at the end of the day, they're forgetting that we are human and every human has a breaking point.
Yeah.
And so then that's when you say you suppress all of these things, the trauma, the emotions, the experiences, and at some point it's going to come out, it's going to manifest itself externally. We just don't know how that can be. And unfortunately for Dr. Bonnie, it was suicide.
Yeah. And so I was reading some statistics from your article that they did on you, and it's from Harvard Business Review. And it says 46.8 million Americans, that constitute 30% of the population. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Face workforce bullying. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
30% is a lot of people. They went on talking about that 19% has witnessed bullying at the workplace and turned their head.
Mm-hmm.
66% was aware of it, but did not speak up. Listen at this number. 67 bullies are male.
Yes.
65 target, think about it, female. So you got 67, that's male, and 65. So how what is that? Only 2% male get to be bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2%. Everybody else got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And 45% of that total is women.
Mm-hmm.
That's a high numbers.
It is. It is. And so, and that even just speaks to, again, the American way, and unfortunately, the sexism that's intertwined into our fabric of history, where you, minorities, for us, for you and I, right? We intersection between being a woman and being Black, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still, minorities, women are still viewed as a minority as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, regardless, any marginalized group is going to be subjected to any type of harassment, mistreatment, bullying, oppression, any of the, above. And so that's why the whole feminist movement became about, because white women were able to start speaking up for it. But unfortunately, it's not enough support for the Black women as well for us to get the treatment that we deserve.
And it's the same thing getting the treatment for the mental health that we deserve.
Yes.
It is that for white women, it comes as a plus. For
Yes.
Black women, it comes as a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever it's always presented to Black women as a weakness, for white women as a, we're going to help you become better and find tools for you can cope so you can be the best you can, even for white young women in college versus Black young women in college. It is, you just need to get over it and move on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's as
Right.
if a white woman get raped, she needs all this therapy. As a Black woman get raped, she needs to get over it.
Right.
And live with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to have this broader conversation. I just believe that we cannot continue to allow our Black women in the workplace of status and the upper level that have sacrificed already just to get there. How much she sacrificed just to educate to be on that level, and how much debt she went in probably to just let her life be gone, and we move on to something else. And we never solve issues or find solutions based on what you said is we move on. Because we never deal with it. We really never deal with how to do that. It's almost like, okay, if I'm in the workplace and I see bullying, what would you tell me to do? As a Black woman, I have 5 kids, single, at home. I'm making $150,000 a year. I am witnessing a Black colleague being bullied every day. I see her when she come back from my manager's office. I drop my head. What am I supposed to do?
So again, like I said earlier, when we were talking about the board, right, and then that whole idea of confrontation, I've learned through my journey as a therapist. So many of us are very uncomfortable with confrontation, very uncomfortable. So we have to start there, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with confrontation, and how do you view confrontation? And also, can confrontation be healthy, right? And so that is one thing that I constantly talk to my clients about, as far as like life. Confrontation is, it goes hand in hand with life. There are going to be challenges, right? So let's prepare ourselves so that we can deal with confrontation in a healthy manner. Then we look at what's in our control, right?
Uh-huh.
How can we support that person? What can we do? What resources can we find for them, right? What Ask them, what support do you need right now, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are witnessing that type of mistreatment, and they are afraid to quit their job for fear that they will get a bad reference, then okay, so maybe we can say, I will be a reference for you. I'll work
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I will say what I need to say to make sure, because I know your work ethic, and it's unfortunate what your position is, or what you're experiencing currently. Um, and then reach out to HR. But
Mm-hmm.
the other thing is, as a community, we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable for our own decisions and the fear, right? Because a lot of times fear paralyzes us. So
Mm-hmm.
again, we're talking about the individual the hypothetical woman that you're speaking of. She may be afraid to quit because of loss of income, right? But now, let's say that she continues to suppress all of that, and now she decides to take the route that Dr. Bonnie took, right? I'm just thinking that the loss of income versus a loss of life, or whatnot, we have to be able to sit down during those vulnerable moments and during those confrontational moments and really weigh out, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to have to figure this out, because I don't want to necessarily lose my life because of these people and giving them power and control over me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so reaching out to whoever you can find, go to the news. If your organization isn't listening, if the leaders above you aren't listening, go to the news. Go somewhere where it can get some publicity, because one thing about businesses, they don't like to be in a hot seat. And so let's get this together. But again, how can you support that individual? And if you are the individual, let's sit down and really figure out what's the worst that can happen if you lose this job.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play worst case scenario. Let's play worst case scenario at this point, because once we process the absolute worst thing that can happen, and we actually process it, sometimes we realize, well, that's not as bad as me losing my life, or
Mm-hmm.
other things that could happen if I were to go a different route, right? And so worst case scenario is very important. Go to EAP. Your job has employee assistance program, most likely, and you'll get free therapy through utilizing that resource. Go to HR and continue to have a paper trail. Continue to have a paper trail, because that is going to be important. Leaders don't like to be in a hot seat. Businesses don't like to be in a hot seat. And if it is in fact white males, they don't like to be in a hot seat, right? And so we've seen that time and time again. And so that is what I would suggest, as far as like witnessing bullying, and if you are the one being bullied. But I think that ultimately, we, again, as a community, have to take some accountability and say, well, not play victim, if you will, or whatnot, because I think that that is also a safe route for us to feel like we are the victim. And yes, we are oppressed, but we don't have to feel victimized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't be afraid to ask for resources,
Mm-hmm.
because again, the Black woman, oftentimes we've had to just figure it out, right? And we get into that
Mm-hmm.
cycle of, I'll just do it myself. I'll just figure it out myself. I'll just do it myself, right? And we are human. We literally are not gods or deities, whatever
Mm-hmm.
people serve.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
are not. We cannot know everything. So at some point, we are going to need some type of guidance and some
Uh-huh.
type of resources that we need to utilize. And my
Mm-hmm.
clients who are in leadership positions, I hear them often say, if I ask for help, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, or I just feel like I'm helpless. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine, because of the things that your experiences, your
Yeah.
worldview has
Mm-hmm.
shaped, or your experience have shaped your worldview when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
help, right? So
Right.
let's just kick help out of there. We're not even
Mm-hmm.
going to use help at this point. Ask your leadership team for a
Mm-hmm.
resource so that you can effectively do your job.
Mm-hmm.
or ask your leadership team for guidance so that you can effectively do your job. Because if you don't have this and you can't figure it out on your own, that is okay. It is okay to be human. And again, we go back to the strong Black woman. That sounds like a superhero, right? And
Right.
superheroes are superhuman or not
Mhm,
human,
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
And that is not who we are. We are human, and we have to take accountability for that, and we have to really sit in that and know that, okay, this is okay. So what's in my control and what's not in my control, and what can I do about this?
Okay. We have several comments that has been coming in. They say too often folks ignore the signs and are afraid to talk about the issues. It's that shame, that's guilt. I don't want to get involved. I don't want depression. I don't. It's all about what I don't want. I don't want. I don't want. But then when it happened to you, you really want someone to stand up for you. The other one said, too many people want to be people pleasers and don't want to upset the apple cart. You know, I don't want to upset what I got going on. So long as he keep doing it to you or she keep doing it to you, it's okay. But I can't have lunch with you because I don't want that person to start thinking, okay, is she telling her? And one of the other questions said, unfortunately, society is encouraging bullying. Look at the media and the political landscape. Yes, look at the political landscape. What we hear some of them saying about one another, I think that routes tight to bullying.
Yes.
And we find it, okay, he just teasing. Oh, he really don't mean it. We keep, I'm like,
Being
no.
desensitized again. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Checking that box. Oh, that's how he is. But what damage are you doing? Now, sometimes I would say yes. I would say HR is supposed to be the safe haven, but HR is also people in position that don't want to rock the apple cart. Like the one of the people that's viewing here said, and they're not doing their job. They're not documenting. They're not finding resources for you. They're not supporting it. They're not asking the person to. They're not bringing the issue. It's like you go to HR, but they don't go to the person. But HR telling you the whole time because they fear also. So you thinking they're doing something, but reality they are not doing nothing. There's just wishing it away because it's a Black woman coming with the answers. And so it'll be great to see this research, and we're going to be diving more deeper into this subject because we're going to, a Black History Month is next month. And what better way to honor all the Black women that has gone through the sacrifice for other Black women to open up these discussions? Because without these sacrifices, we wouldn't be having these discussions. We could do this around abortion, how women, Black women, white women are treated different on the abortion issue than Black women. Okay, it's like we have life and death situation. We don't want to talk about y'all. I know. So if y'all die, that's okay. But you see news people interviewing all these white men. I'm like, wait a minute. There's some Black women going through the same stuff. Well, they can tolerate that pain. And if that happened and they die, that's okay. No, it's not okay. Okay. When we look at guns right violence or police stopping young Black boys and we are teaching our Black youth, put your hands down, say nothing, turn on record. That's a whole lot to be teaching a 16-year-old, 17-year-old.
Yes.
And they're like, I just want to have a good time. I ain't trying to do that. I ain't bothering nobody. But now you got to teach them that. That too is a form of bullying. So you have already you sending your baby out there, and already you are saying you are going to be bullied. Okay. And so we keep looking at even health issues from healthcare, just the basic stuff that people should have. We are constantly engaged in that. And I think that we have to have more conversations, but you can't keep talking about it. Policy and actions make a point. So you think about the Crowns Act. Why do we have to have a Crowns Act when the stuff on your hair is the hair of your hair?
Exactly.
It draw it. Why do I need to perm my hair to make you feel good? Why is it I got to do something with my hair to make you feel comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to have a whole policy about of my hair.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to that place that we get down to in the weeds?
Yeah.
I mean, way down there to come up with hair.
Mm-hmm.
Your hair doesn't influence your thinking.
Exactly.
But we talk about black people hair. What's wrong? Why can't we talk about white people hair? Why do your hair got to be straight coming in here? You need to go figure out how to get your hair better than that. But they don't want to talk about that. So we get, especially black women, like one of the news on CNN News is a black lady that was the reporter had a black woman that that did her record and take a note, tell her where she go. And when she went in for the interview, she wore a wig. It was straight.
Mm-hmm.
When she got that comfortable, she said, "Lady, for this here." So she started going in with her natural hair and twist. And people kept coming to her desk saying, "Well, that's so and so desk. She's on vacation." And she said she just let them come on by and say that. It was her the whole time. She said, "I just let them sit there and was telling me about myself." And in their mind, I was on vacation, but I was really sitting at this desk every day. They had said, "But what do you do to your hair?" She like, "Nothing. It's on my head still."
Mm-hmm.
You see how that played out?
Mm-hmm.
And you like, you were never really looking at me. You really wasn't. You did not see me. What you saw was I fit this image of
Mm-hmm.
making sure my hair was straight.
Mm-hmm.
But to look at me, to see my face, to look at my body, to see how I really, you never saw me at all. So for 2 weeks, people came by there and talked to her and told her that that she was coming back in 2 weeks for vacation. And she said, "I just sit there and just listen to them." She said, "I did not correct them because she was saying they never looked at me. They never value me
Mm-hmm.
over a wig."
Yep.
What did that say that you in a career that people devalue you and judge you for that already? That we have to come up with making other people comfortable.
Again, it's just the American way, right? And so it's a lot of being self-absorbed, right?
Mhm.
And just being brainwashed and conditioned to believe that it's supposed to be a certain way. There is no way around it. It's only one option, one route, one way to get there. And this is it. And when you don't fit into that box, then it's almost like you're invisible.
Oh, wow, wow. Um, what I would like to do, Ashley, is to give you some departing thoughts as we come to close our show, because we will be back leading up to February, because I think that we're going to have groups of people, and yourself, we're going to be inviting you back to talk about this. And March is Women's Month. So I just think that this is, I know they're going to get like, "Oh my goodness, yes, we still talking about it," because this lady paid the ultimate price, and we are not going to just check it off and move on.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. She gave her life for others to have the opportunity to speak up. So give us some parting thoughts before we close out our show.
Well, specifically about Dr. Bonnie, I would say that we need to become very familiar with what workplace bullying is and what harassment is at work. It's potentially anything that makes you feel uncomfortable that goes against, your work standards. It can be found in a handbook, but if you are still unaware, Google will be your friend. Research, research, research. That's one thing that they cannot do is take away your knowledge. And the more that you inform yourself, the more that you can be prepared when these challenges come up. And so, and then as far as like the mental health portion, again, research. Anytime that I potentially am looking for a therapist, if I do not, and to refer someone to, if they're not already on my directory, I go to Google. I go to Psychology Today. I will tell you from experience that you can find everything on the internet nowadays. You just have to be intentional about informing yourself and filling yourself with that knowledge so that you can be prepared. So those are my final words.
Oh, thank you so very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the work that you are doing with RDU Black Therapists. You know, if you're out there and you need some help, go to their website, rdubblacktherapist.org. You know, send a contact. Say, look, I just need to talk to someone. Can you just refer to someone to me?
Yes.
Ask for help. It is nothing to be ashamed of to ask for help. We want to encourage our Black women that the legacy that Dr. Bonnie, because I think that's such a beautiful middle name that everyone gave. It makes you feel good when you say her name, and she just like that, the smile on her face. You know, she is saying to you, um, document, prepare, because her legacy is going to shape bullying around the world. And that we have to start advocating Black women for more deeper policy around this and not be ashamed of it. Because the more we speak out, and something you said, Ashley, that stood out with me, go to the news. Get your evidence, get your paperwork. Don't worry about HR. Go to the news and expose them for who they are and what they are. Because there's a platform for you. And the other thing you said is money in your life. Your peace of mind is so very important. And find someone that you can talk to and to help guide you to a place that you can be able to sit with yourself and become strong in who you are, and be able to express that at some point. And I thank you for attending so very much. And we say to our 200 countries around the world, bullying is not just in the United States of America, it is across the world for women. And women, let's come together and put policies so we do not have to affect that again. And so we invite other cultures, nationalities, and men that don't believe in bullying as we think about different policies that we can do to expose it and change it. Have a very good night. We'll be back next Tuesday, and stay tuned for February. We're going to talk about Black women and how we can overcome as one. Thank you, Mark, and have a good night, Ashley.